Welcome to Washington in Focus. I'm Brett Davis. Joining me today is the Center Square's Eastern Washington reporter, Tim Schuman. You recently authored a piece headlined Drug Possession Controversy in Washington Comes Full Circle in Spokane. That's a reference to the Blake decision, 2021 decision by the state Supreme Court that essentially legalized drug possession. The case involved a Spokane woman, Shannon Blake, who had received a pair of jeans from a friend, and the jeans had some meth in the pocket. That same year, the legislature passed a stopgap measure, but that measure expires on July 1 of this year, and this year's session of the legislature saw lawmakers fail to pass a Blake fix. Hence, the special session Governor Jay Inslee has called for May 16th. So what's in the ordinance that Spokane passed?
So the ordinance that Spokane passed is meant to fill the stopgap that's essentially going to happen when the current state laws expire on June 1st until whatever happens with the state laws. And we're unsure at this point whether or not the special session will result in an actual legal fix. And the issue that you had brought up with the Blake decision is essentially with that court ruling, which was brought by the Spokane County prosecutor, drug possession became de facto legal in Washington state. And so the bar had moved from possession to something akin to distribution or, some other crime. The problem is almost all of the laws in Washington state related to drugs were related to simple possession. And so as a result of that, drug possession and hence drug use became almost de facto legal in the state.
Now, I understand the ordinance passed by the Spokane City Council was 7-0, and there were some interesting comments from people both for and against.
Was 7-0. There was the mayoral administration, along with her two allies in the council, had been pushing their own ordinance to ameliorate the problem, so to say. And unfortunately, the opposition in the council, which has a supermajority, decided to table that and substitute their own ordinance. Fortunately for the mayoral administration, it was substantively similar. It takes possession and turns it into a gross misdemeanor, which functionally means that people can be cited and booked for simple possession of drugs again, hence making re-illegalizing drugs, if you will. And the ordinance is set to keep drug possession a simple misdemeanor, which is in line with current state laws up until June 1st, and then switch over to a gross misdemeanor after June 1st to avoid any conflict with current state laws. The opposing faction in the council voted somewhat reservedly on this one. They didn't like a lot of the potential for selective enforcement. They didn't like a lot of the potential for how quickly possession could be escalated into jail time, and how, certain individuals with more privilege may receive better treatment under that system.
Now, is there any worry by anybody on the council that whatever the state legislature decides, assuming they do decide something during the special session, how is that going to impact their ordinance?
Basically, every member of the council straight up admitted that this ordinance will have to be amended after the special session. Certain members of the council think that nothing is going to happen as a result of the special session. If the legislature couldn't come to an agreement in its first 105 days, they see no reason that it will, with extra prodding from the governor. But everyone on the council agreed that when they get guidance from the state, the new law will have to be updated.
So basically, they're hedging their bets. I think maybe the state won't do anything, so they've passed this ordinance, but recognize that it might have to be amended depending on what happens.
They're hedging their bets, and everyone on the council felt unhappy with this law, even the people who fervently supported it. And one of the council members even went so far as to say, once we pass this, we have done our job. Don't complain to us. Complain to the executive branch. Complain to the mayor's administration and the police.
So ending things on a high note here. All right, well, I look forward to seeing what happens with this mess. Listeners can keep up with the story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Tim Schuman, this is Brett Davis. Please subscribe, and thanks for listening.